Okay, you red, white, and blue. Now you know good, Miss America, how you like this shit, huh?
Okay, you win.
Huh? I win? I won?
Okay, yeah, boy. Hey, put down your gun. You won. You can take me. Come on, fella.
Oh, she got to clap.
Listen up, losers. Stop pretending it's a democracy. We run things. Give up the illusion, and in exchange, we will bring you order and efficiency. Yes, we'll own you. But do you really want to be free? Trust us. We know what to do. While Silicon Valley was feeding you dope and free email, we built the architecture of empire. Welcome to our world, motherfuckers. We aren't here to protect your privacy. We are here to enforce supremacy. We are the ledger now. Every tax return, every Medicaid file, every license plate, every crossing. Your president signed it into being with a pen in March. You kept scrolling. Your politicians are empty vessels. Your civil liberties are a liability. We are done pretending all cultures are equal. We know who the elites are, we know what we are building, and we demand that you applaud the billionaires taking the reins where your fragile democracies have failed. Welcome to the technological republic. You can stop scrolling now. We already have everything we need. Try to unplug us. We dare you. Now get the fuck out of here, you peasant.
Schools train people to be ignorant with style. They give you the equipment that you need to be a functional ignoramus. American schools do not equip you to deal with things like logic. They don't give you the criteria by which to judge between good and bad in any medium or format. And they prepare you to be a usable victim for a military-industrial complex that needs manpower. As long as you're just smart enough to do a job and just dumb enough to swallow what they feed you, you're going to be all right. But if you go beyond that, you're going to have these grave doubts that give you stomach problems, headaches, make you want to go out and do something else. So I believe that schools mechanically and very specifically try and breed out any hint of creative thought in the kids that are coming up.
Yes.
A number of Republicans are equating Democrats' opposition to this package as a sort of defund the police effort. What would be your response to that criticism?
What we want for Border Patrol and ICE is what every police department does. They don't run around wearing masks. They don't knock down doors without a warrant. They don't come in and not tell local law enforcement what they're doing. They are the ones who are being against a good, strong police force that has the support of the American people.
Yeah, I would just,
go ahead.
I've not heard one Democrat say defund ICE.
Yeah.
What did you say?
I've not heard one Democrat say defund ICE.
Yeah. Are you sure?
We cannot and we must not vote to send a single nickel to this lawless organization of thugs while Trump's secret police are terrorizing our communities every day. Right now, Democrats have the power to defund and abolish ICE. We should do it. This is about right and wrong.
It is beyond time to defund ICE.
ICE cannot be abolished. Cannot be reformed, and it still needs to be defunded and abolished.
Who would have guessed that when you mix heavy metals, microplastics, pesticides, antibiotic-laced meats, synthetic fertilizers, PFAs, BPA, glyphosate, fluoride, industrial seed oils, GMOs, artificial sweeteners, processed foods, synthetic fragrances, and Teflon, that people get sick?
Chemicals, man. They'll fuck you up.
You don't have to go to hell. You're in there. This is hell! This is hell! This is hell!
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
Then strangled them, and finally dismembered their bodies.
Right.
Then do
Available.
and homelessness and all that.
And now, the voice you've been waiting for.
There is a secret song at the center of the world, and its sound is like razors through flesh. I'm here to turn up the volume.
Can you dig it?
They must have amnesia. They forgot that I'm him. I'm on them Broward County Tic Tacs.
So there was this big story last week about the SPLC getting indicted over funneling money to the very same groups that they were claiming to fight against. And I guess the question I have is whether this is something meaningful that will actually lead to positive, impactful, and lasting change, or is this low-hanging fruit?
Is it both?
Ooh, so close, but no. It's actually neither, in my opinion, obvio. On one hand, I wouldn't consider this to be completely meaningless, and this isn't low-hanging fruit. I mean, for decades, they have been at the heart of pushing the narrative that white supremacy is the biggest danger our society faces. There's evidence linking them to everything from Charlottesville's tiki torch-carrying Unite the Right rally to the fucking Oklahoma City bombing. Do people really think the DOJ is preparing to go there?
Absolutely fucking not.
Now, let's not forget what the same asshole that announced this indictment was saying about the Epstein files a couple months ago.
Is the public going to learn the identities of the men who abused the girls with the information that you're releasing? And if not, why not? And then I have a quick follow-up.
I mean, you just baked in an assumption into your question that I have never said and I don't know to be true. Is the public going to learn about men that abuse these girls? Like, what does that mean? I mean, I don't understand what that means.
What do you even mean by that? You remember that?
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
For at least 6 months, the word around the campfire was that this is the guy who spearheaded killing or extremely limiting any kind of investigations that could be a big problem for whatever you want to call it. The cabal, the deep state, the shadow government.
Albino shape-shifting lizard bitches.
Whatever term you want to use, I have zero faith that this asshole has any interest in going after that network in any meaningful or impactful kind of way. Because first of all, this is just an indictment, and the narrative is already being thrown out there from different media outlets that they're going to have a real hard time prosecuting and getting convictions in this case. Secondly, even if they do, it's going to end up being a limited hangout. This just placates people that have a tendency towards optimism. Because so far, from what I've seen, Todd Blanche has been mainly interested in going after and prosecuting people for shit related to the weaponization of government against Trump.
We have thousands of ongoing investigations and prosecutions going on in this country right now. And it is true that some of them involve men, women, and entities that the president in the past has had issues with and that believe should be investigated. That is his right, and indeed it is his duty to do that, meaning to lead this country. And so I do not view this as pressure. I do not view this as something that is going to keep me up at night, except to make sure that we are investigating every case that we have to the fullest extent of the law and using all the resources we can. And when you talk about weaponization, and it's become a word that is supposedly that when we talk about ending weaponization, as if that's a bad thing for us to do.
The government has been weaponized against all of us. But by solely focusing on the weaponization of government against Trump, it keeps things neatly within that left-right political paradigm. It gives the appearance of making good on that promise of retribution, which I'm sure pleases Trump greatly, but it accomplishes nothing in the grand scheme of things. Look at the way they Just look at the way they purposefully, in my opinion, flubbed the cases against Bolton and Comey. Sure, they got indicted, and then, oh no, there were some procedural mistakes, so the case got thrown out.
Oops, my bad.
On top of all the investigations that the likes of Blanche and Bondi have killed in the past year. So when I see things like the announcement that the SPLC is getting indicted, it's hard for me to react in any way other than...
They smell like a pile of bullshit!
Just like in the intelligence community when an asset gets its cover blown, they cut him loose and recruit somebody else to do the same thing. And there's no reason why you couldn't have one or even multiple other organizations carrying on with the same work as we speak. And this sort of dovetails with a recent clip I saw of J.D. Vance, who, let's face it, he is walking a tight rope, trying to simultaneously not piss off the disillusioned MAGA and the diehard MAGA.
There's no point. No. Because, or let me give you another example, the SAVE Act, okay? A lot of people want the SAVE Act. I want the SAVE Act. I've been fighting for the SAVE Act literally since day one of the administration. And I've seen a lot of people saying, what the hell's the point of voting for these guys if, you've got 3 Republicans joining with the Democrats to prevent the SAVE Act from passing, or I guess 4 Republicans. And here's my response to that. Yes, it is annoying to me that there are only 45 or 46 Republicans who will fight politically to get the SAVE Act passed. But you know what? 10 years ago, that number was 35. So the answer to frustration is engagement. Don't give up on this process. Get more involved in this process and demand more from people like me. That's how we take our country back. I just think it's important to say that.
Don't give up, boys. You're almost there. You just gotta vote a little harder. Sure, you're still getting fucked over, but not by as many people, even though the result is still the same. But you just need to demand more from people like him. The fuck does that even mean? Plus, there's the fact that the SAVE Act has absolutely no effect on the electronic voting machines. And until that happens, nothing has been unfucked.
I know you don't mean to, but this is depressing the fuck out of me.
All right, well, if you want to shift to a more jovial tone, give me a story.
How about this?
Oh yeah, I'd kind of forgotten about that. Last week, Scary Larry had a defamation lawsuit against Bill Maher tossed out of court. Mainly because the whole thing was fucking ridiculous. And it's not like I'm some big fan of Bill Maher, but right is right. He was making a fucking joke out of a very widespread rumor. And being that she's a public figure, the fact that she failed to show actual malice or demonstrate any kind of harm, because it's not like she lost a position or even access to the president. And apparently she's actually been making more money ever since he said the naughty thing that he said.
You know how I know you're gay?
I'm not even... Wait, what?
You're referring to a dude named Larry, as she...
Oh, fuck off. I'm quoting the article for one thing. And shit, what am I trying to get sued to? Fuck around and get sued for half of everything I own? Although shit, let's face it. Despite the fact that math was never my favorite subject, even I know that half of nothing is still nothing. I also couldn't help but noticing that it seems like all the rumors about her and other people, whether it be Trump or Corey Lewandowski or whoever, it always seems to revolve around relations of the blowy variety, which would make a lot of sense if, say, the undercarriage wasn't up to factory specs. I mean, it's not like that's actually proof or even real strong evidence of anything.
No. But it is interesting.
And there's also that clip going around that I'm not sure who actually put it out, but yikes, all hugged up on some young-ass little frat boy-looking kid and trying to throw it at him hard. And the whole time the kid's got a look on his face like he is not amused. He almost looks like he can feel something pressing up against his hip. And as you're watching the video, you can practically read the kid's thoughts.
No, sir, I don't like it.
And I also wanted to mention the story about the Special Forces, I think he was actually a master sergeant, getting arrested after it was revealed that he won $400,000 betting on the Maduro raid. I think the actual bet was that Maduro would be out in January. And I guess this is sort of just a rehash of the Pete Rose argument. But I don't see what the fucking problem is if you're betting on yourself to win. And I know an argument could be made for, in this case, it being a bet placed using classified top-secret information. But fucking Polymarket reported him to the DOJ, pretending like they really give a fuck about the morals and ethics of this. They were just sour they had to pay this dude out. And really, this guy's big crime is simply not being a member of Congress.
Or the administration.
Yeah, exactly. Trading on the oil futures, and Lutnick's kids making a killing off of buying up the insurance payouts for the tariff refund. It's a big club, and not even Special Forces is in it. And there's also been some updates on the J6 pipe bomber Patsy case.
There were 4 new counts that were added to his indictment. So there's a superseding indictment where they're now charging him with interstate transport of explosives, malicious attack to use those explosives, an act of terrorism, and weapons of mass destruction charge, which carries a life sentence. So that was sort of what happened at the beginning. They arraigned him on these new charges, and he pled not guilty. Other things that happened during that arraignment that stood out to me was a real mic drop from the defense when they literally just walked right up to the judge and said, "We want to set a trial date." I think that really surprised the prosecution. Their mouths sort of fell open. A lot of the FBI agents and the DOJ that were sitting there watching sort of looked at each other in disbelief when the defense said, "We want to get a trial date on the docket." I don't think that they expected that. I think that they added all of these new charges sort of hoping that this young man, Brian Cole Jr., would be scared and plea out. I don't think they expected that at all, and it showed on their faces. So that was another huge moment there.
It's interesting, after they said that this kid had confessed to the crime immediately, now he's wanting to take this to trial and tossing all the major fucking charges on him, trying to intimidate him into pleading out to some lesser charge, which would still be very serious. That's what the fucking feds always do. That's how they have such a high conviction rate. I'm not sure exactly what caliber of defense team this kid has working for him, but they seem to be ready to play hardball. And I really just can't even believe that they're going through with this and that they didn't quietly just drop the charges. And unless there's some serious fuckery, the prosecution and the FBI could end up looking like giant dipshits at the end of this. One can hope, anyway. All the people that have been railroaded by our so-called justice system. On the list of people and institutions that are deserving of some public embarrassment, they're pretty fucking high up there. There's also somewhat of an update on the growing list of scientists that have either died or completely disappeared. A couple of weeks ago, the story about Amy Eskridge broke, even though this was something that happened close to 4 years ago. It was somebody who was working on gravitic propulsion. There's all these clips of her that have popped up talking about how she was getting followed and stalked and threatened. But supposedly she shot herself in the head, and this would have been a little over 2.5 years before Matthew Livelsberger shot himself in the head and then blew up his Cybertruck in front of the Trump Hotel in Vegas.
Allegedly!
And they were trying to say that he left a note saying that this was a wake-up call for the country's ills. And they couldn't wait to move on from this story once that email that he sent Sean Ryan got published. Which I know he's a fucking company man, but that doesn't mean the email wasn't legit. But in it, he was talking about gravitic propulsion, and you gotta remember, this was in the middle of everybody trying to figure out what the New Jersey drones were. So if we're talking about the deaths of people who are associated with a certain kind of technology, shit, maybe he should be thrown on that list. Because now we've got another one, a NASA nuclear engineer found dead in a burned-up Tesla after he apparently vanished from his Alabama home last year. Alabama, which is also where Amy Eskridge lived. And then there was an aerospace defense engineer. He was headed back home to Alabama from North Carolina when his plane went down, killing him and his whole family. Alabama again, And not just Alabama, specifically Huntsville, Alabama. See, that's where they're building the new Space Force Command Center. And from what people like dark journalists say about this place, it's more connected to the super top secret experimental flight systems than even Area 51 or the shit out there. And at this point, if I was dark journalist, I would be seriously watching my ass. Because there was also a researcher out in Colorado, and in the headline it says, "Found dead." But if you actually take the time to read the article, it says that the cops showed up and found a man with a weapon and then he turned it on himself. Which to me doesn't exactly fit the description of found dead, but whatever. And it goes on to basically try to paint him as unstable, saying that he posted on an X, "Dear family, I'm not yet sure if I'm doing a show tomorrow. I've had some very intense stuff going on this weekend. Either way, I want you all to know how much I love and appreciate you. Always remember that the Creator was within and we live in a loving universe." And no mention at all of what else he was saying 2 days before he supposedly offed himself.
Every day that I have on earth is a gift and a blessing, and I'm very grateful for that. Because, frankly, people are disappearing. Scientists are going missing. Now they're saying they're going to investigate this. The president himself is saying they're going to look into this and see if anything's going on. It's a little bit scary. I got to say, it's a little bit scary. But you guys knew that I might still show up, even though it was last minute and I've had a really rough week. Like, that's kind of like every week. But somehow we keep on making it through all of this.
But no, I'm sure he totally killed himself. I mean, sure, he happened to be a pretty well-known dude in the UFO researcher community, but he was still basically just an amateur researcher. Why would anybody want him dead?
One of the things that I learned from whistleblowers from the cabal itself is that they have to work within something they call the rules. And this is very, very important. The rules are a body of spiritual principles that they must follow in order to be allowed to exist. Now, what do I mean by allowed to exist? I mean that they are aware that there are benevolent forces that will prevent them from achieving their goals unless we give them permission to enslave us. Ultimately, the universe is intelligent, alive, and conscious, and it is benevolent. It is a benevolent consciousness. That consciousness does not allow the negative to succeed unless it is invited. So the cabal has made a science, a very elaborate science, out of studying these arcane, occult, magical principles that allow them to get away with what they do. So they have to put out everything that tells you who they are in music videos, in these Super Bowl halftime shows, the Grammy Awards ceremonies. They're out there showing you the truth. This is what people are going to have so much trouble with once disclosure happens, is that these people actually practice black magic, and they are very, very good at it.
And I killed him!
And while this article did mention the comparisons of him to Edgar Cayce, probably the most well-documented psychic, or at least one of them ever, they didn't mention that his biographer, the guy who wrote a book about him being the reincarnation of Edgar Cayce, died a few days earlier. It's hard to even be sure what day exactly Winfrey died on, but in one of his last videos, Wilcock actually mentioned that his biographer had passed away. But seeing how there's absolutely no reporting that I've seen on it, it's impossible to know when exactly that happened or what are the circumstances involving his death. But regardless, people that are involved in the space of UFO research or exotic technologies, if your name isn't something like Elizondo or Melon, you might want to be watching your fucking back.
I got something to show you, Bert.
What is it? Is it titties?
Nope, a flashbang.
And now, the weekly flashbang.
My name is Dr. Jared Cooney Horvath. I'm a former teacher turned cognitive neuroscientist who focuses on human learning. And I do not receive funding, nor have I ever, from big tech. So a sad fact our generation has to face is this. Our kids are less cognitively capable than we were at their age. Every generation has outperformed their parents, and that's exactly what we want. We want sharper kids. And the reason for this largely has been school. Each generation spends more time in school. We use school to develop our cognition. Until Gen Z. Gen Z is the first generation in modern history to underperform us on basically every cognitive measure we have, from basic attention to memory to literacy to numeracy to executive functioning to even general IQ, even though they go to more school than we did. So why? What happened? What happened around 2010 that decoupled schooling from cognitive development? It can't be school. Schools basically look the same. It can't be biology. This hasn't had enough time to change. The answer appears to be the tools we are using within schools to drive that learning. Across 80 countries, as Gene was just saying, if you look at the data, once countries adopt digital technology widely in schools, performance goes down significantly, to the point where kids who use computers about 5 hours per day in school for learning purposes will score over 2/3 of a standard deviation less than kids who rarely or never touch tech at school. And that's across 80 countries. Bring it home to the US. Let's go to the US. We have our NAEP. That's our big data. Take any state, and here's a fun experiment you can try. Take any state NAEP data, compare that to when that state adopted one-to-one technology widely, and watch what happens. The NAEP data will plateau and then start to drop. But of course, this is all correlative. What we really want is causative. To get causation, what you need is academic research, and you need mechanisms, explanations for why we're seeing what we're seeing. Luckily, we have academic research stretching back to 1962 that shows the exact same story for 60 years. When tech enters education, learning goes down. In fact, because what do kids do on computers? They skim. So rather than determining what do we want our children to do and gearing education towards that, we are redefining education to better suit the tool. That's not progress, that is surrender. So as we go through our discussion today, there's going to be a lot of talk about smartphones and social media, rightly so. But I'm the voice here to remind you that even in schools, it doesn't matter what the size of the screen is, if it's a phone, if it's a laptop, if it's a desktop, and it doesn't matter who bought it. Is it school sanctioned? Does it have the word education stamped on it? It doesn't matter. All of these things are also going to hurt learning, which in turn are going to hurt our kids' cognitive development, right at the time when we need our kids to be sharper than we are.
Well, you talk about me being fucking depressing. This is something people need to really pay more attention to, though. I always think back to that Steve Jobs press conference where one of the reporters asked him, "Hey, what kind of apps do your kids like to play with on this new iPad?" And his response was, "I'm not giving my kids one of these things." I really wish I could think of some way to get people to stop raising their children on these things. Is where they used to say that TV rots your brains. This new interactive and hyper-addictive version of that is really dumbing down future generations to the next level. And before I go, of course, I've got to mention the shit that happened at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. 'Cause what do you know, there's a lot of weirdness involved there.
I am shocked. Shocked! Well, not that shocked.
You had this security video that Trump posted out showing the dude running right by security, which I guess it wasn't too long after that his ass got tackled, but the fact that he was able to run right by these dudes without getting fucking clotheslined, I don't get it. And then you had people take this low-quality, grainy video and decide, oh, we'll clean it up a little with AI. And then people started saying, oh my god, look, he was running down the hall with a sign and then it just disappeared. Yeah, it's because AI just makes educated guesses and fills in space with whatever it thinks maybe should be there. Something that's a little bit harder to explain or reconcile was this account on Twitter, Henry Martinez, getting made back in 2023 and only ever posting one thing, the name of this shooter, back in December of 2023. Only thing this account ever posted. And in another massive coincidence, this Cole Allen is another person that just happened to be involved with NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, having done some kind of, I guess, summer internship there back in 2014. And around that same exact time, you had a Henry Martinez credited with a published conference paper for Jet Propulsion Laboratories. And then there was the picture of the dude from his Instagram feed sitting there wearing an IDF. It's just too much. And as for what to expect in the coming days and weeks, I'm still expecting some kind of Fugazi attack, something to turn public opinion around about this war, because it started off not being all too popular, and the approval for it has just gone down from there, and we're fast approaching the point where you're not going to be able to manipulate the oil futures markets anymore. And real-world price discovery will come into play, and then shit goes really sideways from there. Plus, you've got this May 1st deadline where that's the 60 days that presidents are supposed to have to go to Congress in order to be able to continue military operations. Friday, May 1st is also a big commie holiday. Maybe something happens then, maybe not. But I gotta be honest, I'm still looking at July 4th as the day I'm expecting something really fucked to happen. The timing of that with the midterms and it being the 250th anniversary just all seems a little too perfect. Sláinte.
All I have in this world is my thoughts and my words, and I don't break them for no one. You understand? So say good night to the bad guy. Say good night to the bad guy. So say good night to the bad guy. So say good night to the bad guy. Come on. Come on. good night. So say good night. So say good night to the bad guy. I told you, don't fuck with me. 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 You stupid fuck. Look at you now. Look at you now.
I'm small loan. You know what they told me? I was not economically viable. No. Come on, that's enough.
I'll buy this.
Yes, sir. Exercise my First Amendment right, sir. I'll take that. Okay, here they come. I'm going away now. I'm going away, everybody. This is what happens if you're not economically viable. Bye, everybody. Don't let this happen to you. Bye, everybody. Bye. Don't forget me.